I've got a new marketplace find, and today we're gonna find out if it was worthwhile or if it's just trash. Now, I've been wanting to buy a Sandblaster for quite a while. Problem is, we're in a very small two-car garage here. Most Sandblasters are extremely big, take up too much space, and I just really couldn't fit it in here. So I've been trying to find a small benchtop one for a reasonable price for a little while. This one here came up for $100 on Marketplace. I went and checked it out, and the guy hadn't even opened the box. Now, some of these smaller Sandblasters can be a little bit questionable in how well they actually work. This particular model is Mastercraft, sold by Canadian Tire, and honestly, I don't know how good it's gonna be. So I think what we need to do is open up the box, get it out, see what we've got. All right, so here we go. Looks like there's a little bit of assembly required. All the parts appear to be inside here, but I think we need to actually get in there and... So, this comes with an empty bag, the instruction manual. Got a few spare sheets for the door here. It's like, actually quite a few. Cardboard, light, and I'm assuming the light's supposed to probably clip up here. Are great for the bottom. And a box of stuff. Let's find out what's in the box. All right, so in here we've got scouring pad, sure what that's for. Probably for here, a random box. Oops, various size nozzles, tape, and here's our actual sandblasting gun. Let's check in here. Power supply, so that's probably for the light. I might have to read the instructions. I don't want to read the instructions. All right, that looks like about everything it comes with. So now all we gotta do is assemble. But there's one thing I'm going to do before we start actually putting this thing together. Because if there's one thing I've learned about sandblast cabinets is it doesn't matter how well you think it's sealed from the factory, they still leak. So what I got here is some RTV. I'm gonna go around all the seams, put some RTV in there, and hopefully that minimizes the fine powdery sand that ends up all over my shop. While the RTV dries, I'm going to install the Sandblaster into here. So we'll start with a suction tube and throw it on the ground. Where'd that go? The floor doesn't really fit in there very well, so I'm going to take these and bend them inwards a little bit, and hopefully that'll allow the floor to sit down properly, because right now the floor is sitting here and raising the whole thing up so it's rocking around. So that's all there is for the assembly. Now, there's definitely a few things that leave a bit to be desired, like the vent in the back. I think what I'll do there is I'll 3D print a gasket for it, maybe even make an adapter so I can attach it to the vacuum cleaner to draw out some of the dust from the unit when it's being used. We'll see, I'll get around to that a little bit later. Great in the bottom is the other thing though. It doesn't fit in here very tightly and it easily moves around. I'm not really sure what you can do about that. I might try and make some clips for it to take up some of the slack. But other than that, for $100, I think it seems pretty good. All that's left to do is test it. Unfortunately, that RTV is still wet, so that's gonna have to wait until tomorrow.
While we wait for that silicone to dry, let's take a look at some of the specs. The cabinet measures in at 58.5 centimeters wide and 48.5 centimeters both in depth and height. That's about 23 by 19 by 19 Freedom units. This gives us an abrasive capacity of just over 90 liters or 24 US gallons. The minimum air requirement for operation is 2.1 cubic feet per minute at 90 psi. However, you're probably going to want a bit more than that to run the blaster at its max working pressure of 100 psi.
And we are back, so this thing has had all night to sit for the silicone to cure, and it hasn't cured at all. I've never run into this before. If you have any idea why the silicone hasn't cured, leave a comment below, because this is new to me. Anyways, I guess that means scraping it all back out. Well, at least one of us finds this amusing. Well, everything about that completely sucked, but I got the new silicone in place, so I think it's time to put some sand in this cabinet and give it a try. All right, so I got the unit filled up with some 2050 glass blast media, and what I have here is a piece of the new center jack going into my lift. You can see it's pretty rusty. So I think this will be a good test piece. It's pretty good size as well. We'll get it loaded in, and these things are pretty loud. Alright, so we've done our test blast. Now, will this become a staple of the shop? Well, we'll find out in a minute. There's a few things that definitely are gonna need a little bit of work. But, how does it function as a sandblasting cabinet? And I gotta say, for 100 bucks, it's not too bad. You can see where we didn't blast and where we did blast. There's a few little pit marks in there, but overall it came out not too bad. Now the rusted areas looked pretty much like this, and after a short blast, it actually didn't take very long to get it to this point, they now look like that. So, is it the quality of a big professional sandblast cabinet? Absolutely not. Is it good enough for the shop? Well, probably. But like I said, there's a few things that are gonna have to be addressed. Let me show you. Now, if you recall, this little vent on the back, when we were assembling, was pretty loose. So, you can see it's just been blasting dust all out around this filter. Even if this filter was properly sealing, I don't think it would make much of a difference. You can see how coarse this actually is. If it was sealing, I'm pretty sure a lot of that dust would just blast right through it anyhow. I think what we're gonna have to do is build a dust recovery system for this to hook it up to the vacuum cleaner in the future. For the time being, I think I'm gonna have to put it on casters, roll it out to the garage door and open it up, do all my blasting at the door so the dust doesn't land in here, and then wheel it back in when I'm done. But it didn't clog up at any point, and the hopper feed system seemed to work pretty well and fairly consistently. So is this thing going to become a permanent tool in my shop? I think it probably is. The size is small and compact enough that I'm gonna be able to find somewhere to store it, but it's still large enough that it's capable of sandblasting most of the things that I'm going to have to do here. Brake components, suspension components, toys, whatever else, they're all gonna fit in this cabinet. So if you've been hemming and hawing about buying one of these cabinets for your shop, but not sure if they're gonna be good enough, if you're just doing light work, yeah, I think it probably is a pretty decent investment, but I definitely would keep an eye out for a used one. Like I said, 100 bucks, I don't think you can really go wrong. I'll have other tool reviews coming up as I get them, but if you enjoyed today's video, please hit that like and subscribe. In the meantime, get out in the garage and build something. We'll see you next time. Have a good one.